In just 90 intense seconds, weeks of strained diplomacy collapsed, shocking allies and reshaping foreign policy. President Donald Trump's Oval Office thrashing of Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelenskyy on Friday laid bare the limits of a full-court press by America's allies aimed at reshaping Trump's determination to end Russia's invasion, even if the terms are not to Ukraine's liking. It also stressed the profound ways Trump feels emboldened to redirect U.S. foreign policy priorities toward his America First agenda in ways that extend well beyond those of his tumultuous first term. The encounter left the future of the U.S.-Ukraine relationship and Kiev's ability to defend itself in the brutal conflict with Russia in mortal jeopardy. "You either make a deal or we are out," Trump told Zelenskyy, underscoring the American leader's plans to dictate a swift end to the war or leave its longtime ally to continue the fight without its strongest backer. Zelenskyy was in London to meet with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer before a summit Sunday of European leaders. "Our relationship with the American president is more than just two leaders. It's a historic and solid bond between our peoples. That's why I always begin with words of gratitude from our nation to the American nation," he added. "Ukrainians want only strong relations with America, and I really hope we will have them," he said. On Thursday, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer visited Washington and appealed to Trump for a U.S. backstop for European nations who would provide frontline security for Ukraine. He was in essence looking for insurance that, should a peace deal be reached, Russia won't restart the fighting in the future. The approach seemed to work, as Trump struck a more conciliatory tone toward Ukraine, calling America's support for the country against Russia's invasion a very worthy thing to do, and disclaiming any memory that he had called the Ukrainian leader a dictator. But Trump would not budge, and U.S. officials repeatedly said Zelenskyy would not be welcome to meet with the president to discuss Trump's push for negotiations with Russia until it was signed. After weeks of browbeating, Zelenskyy's government on Wednesday formally agreed to the proposal, clearing the path for Friday's meeting. All the while, Trump was focused on securing a financial stake in Ukraine's critical minerals to recoup the tens of billions the U.S. has given to Kiev to defend itself. Zelenskyy, meanwhile, wanted more than Washington's vague promises that the U.S. would work to preserve its economic interest in Ukraine under the agreement and pushed for more concrete security guarantees. Sen. Lindsey Graham, RSC, a defense hawk and Trump ally, said he had warned Zelenskyy before the meeting not to take the bait in his dealings with Trump, who has repeatedly shown a penchant for throwing criticism but a deep resistance to receiving it. It was Vance, a longtime critic of American support for Ukraine, who dangled it when he insisted diplomacy was the only way forward. "I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country," Vance responded before tearing into the Ukrainian leader. "Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office to try to litigate this in front of the American media." Trump then let loose, warning the Ukrainian leader, "You're gambling with World War III, and what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country that's backed you far more than a lot of people say they should have." "You see the hatred he's got for Putin," Trump said. "That's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate." "It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this," Trump said to Zelenskyy as the two leaders talked over each other. Trump later told reporters he didn't want to embolden the Ukrainian leader if he didn't want peace with Russia, flipping what Ukraine had seen as an inducement for security guarantees into a cudgel. "You can't embolden somebody who does not have the cards," Trump said. "It's so sensitive for our people," Zelenskyy said. "And they just want to hear that America is on our side, that America will stay with us, not with Russia with us. That's it." After repeatedly declining opportunities to apologize to Trump, Zelenskyy closed his Fox appearance with a sheepish expression of remorse as he struggled with the reality of Trump's new direction in Washington. "Sorry for this,"